And one of the things I forgot to do before Poverty Tour was to get a haircut, which I went straight today and did. The very next day that I got home, I went. And anyway, today we're gonna talk about Poverty Tour 2026. I'm gonna tell you exactly how the trip went for me, and I'm gonna tell you about the lessons that we learned from this trip, because we did actually learn some valuable lessons. So stay tuned. I'm totally not impressed with myself right now. It is illegal to transmit on a linear amp, so you don't want to turn it on. Okay, before we go any further, I have to shamelessly plug myself. Now, before Poverty Tour, I had some stickers made. I had these made, which are the Wandering Iron logo stickers, and I had these made, which are the stickers that look like the duct tape sticker that I put on the back of the van for Victor Kinnemis. These each are $5 a piece, if you would like them. I have 27 of these left. I have 46 of these left. So email me, wanderingironvideos.com. Let me know that you would like one. We'll figure out how to get it paid for, and then I will send them to you in a letter, probably with a letter that says thank you in cursive, because I'm that guy. Morning. It's that time. Ooh. Loud. Hold on. All right. Firing it up, letting it warm up. We're gonna program in our destination here in this tablet. And it's tablet mount. And we're gonna head out. Join me, won't you? This is where I thought I was being really smart. I was gonna put the introduction right here, but obviously that has happened earlier. Just keep watching. And we can't forget about Dr. Pepper. Well, we're heading out. Got some milk, got some Dr. Pepper. All we gotta do is hit the highway now. Here we go.
Every time I hear a whistle whine from a lonesome locomotive coming down the line, it carries my mind away to another place and time, when train traveling across the land was the only way to fly. Am I a fool to think it glamorous? Boxcaring like a hobo, it must have been rough, but a simpler way of life is what it really means to me, when we weren't so dependent on money to be free. I hear you, train, are you traveling my way? Won't you let me ride your rails right back to yesterday? Who knows what I could see from that old time machine? But there you go again, train traveling. There you go again, train traveling. cotton floor. Smell yesterday's whiskey here rattling at the door. A railroad man looking for me, I'm scared as I can be. I open my eyes and realize it's just another dream. I hear you, train, are you traveling my way? Won't you let me ride your rails right back to yesterday? Who knows what I could see from that old time machine? But there you go again, train traveling. Yeah, there you go again, train traveling.
Because I have a Sam's card. $88.16, $3.75.9 a gallon, and 23.454 gallons of gas. Now, I've traveled 346.9 miles, and I've done the math, and it's looking like we're getting pretty close to 15 miles to the gallon, which is insane. I didn't think this thing could get 15 miles to the gallon. Anyway, I gotta find a bite to eat because I have not eaten today. And then we are back on the road for St. Louis. Hopefully get there between 6 and 7 tonight. So, let's see if we can't find something real quick as far as food is concerned. Get ourselves down the highway. So, this is where I really wanted to pull more video off of the Wolf Box and give like another video montage of me on my way to St. Louis. However, I wasn't able to pull the video off the Wolf Box, and since that day, I've not really been able to pull anything off the Wolf Box except one piece that you're going to see coming up, which is actually pretty badass. All right, we made it to the church, The Rock, in Baldwin, Missouri, and we've got the Command Center Mark II, and the K-Rolla, and the Justy. We're waiting on Chad to get here, but I'm gonna tell you, I like being barefoot way more than I like wearing shoes. And the grass here is brilliant because I can be barefoot as much as I want. Anyway, we're gonna sit around the fire. There's fire going, and shoot the shit. Drink Dr. Pepper. Do I?
I don't know, we're gonna...
Oh, I cussed on church property. I don't know. All right.
Oh, on church property? That makes
I know. It's a whole $1 now. Yeah. All right. Justin's here. So, old jug and a dog. And OBS Shipyard right there.
Hi, guys.
So, all right. Fire. We'll see you tomorrow. So what you need to know at this point is that we were still waiting on Chad Scott from Whiskey Gas Garage and his Lincoln Log Cabin Luxury Living Room and Limousine with Love and the Redneck Hot Tub Trailer to show up because he was supposed to camp with us that night. He had picked up like 2 people, maybe 3 with him, that he was bringing in, that they were going to camp with us, and then tomorrow morning we were going to go to the Blessed and Blemished car show. Chad was going to be a part of the car show. My van was going to be a part of the car show. Some other people were going to be a part of the car show that were going on Poverty Tour. And we had spent pretty much late into the night waiting on him. And he didn't arrive, I think, until after 10 o'clock, which, if you know Chad Scott at all, that's past his bedtime. Okay, first time for me, but check it out. The interior of the Lincoln Log Cabin Luxury Living Room and Limousine with Love. And, hold on. The interior of the cabin. This thing is way cool. Oh, did you see his cock back here? Oh, I knew what I was saying when I said it. Anyway, the next day was the Blessed and Blemished car show. Now, we spent the night. So it was Chad Scott, Whiskey Gas Garage, Justin Patton, Old Jug and a Dog. OBS Shipyard actually went home to see his family, strange. And I stayed the night, and then Brad and Samantha. And you're going to see their van later. It's an 84 B200 van that Brad Magnum swapped. I will talk about them. You may not see them in the video, like personally, because Brad doesn't have a social media account. And Sam would like to not be in videos or whatever. So There may be a brief moment where you see them in the background or something like that, or there may be a brief moment somewhere where they appear. I'm not real sure. I gotta still watch the video in order to figure it out. But they camped as well. They had a dog named Gia, and Gia was fantastic. If I can find a picture of Gia, I will throw a picture of Gia up for you to see her, because she basically was my dog the whole time. I mean, everywhere I went, I tried to get her up in the chair with me. I tried to get her to sit with me, whatever. I loved Gia. Anyway, let's get back to the video. Well, good morning. It's too early to be awake after being up around the fire last night. Where is it? There it is. Right there. Drinking. Which typically is what we do. Although, drinking around a fire on church property is a new one on me. But we've added a little bit of a few people to the mix. So, as you can tell, the opulence is here. If you can look just over there in that van, that is Brad and Samantha. Brad and Samantha drove the green Dodge. I think it was a crew cab last year. I'll have to ask them. But anyway, they drove the green Dodge crew cab last year to Tucson, Medicine Globe, New Mexico, and drove us to Tucson. Also, if you look really closely, way over there, we have a Lincoln Log cabin, luxury living room, and limousine with love, and a redneck hot tub trailer, which is currently being filled so that we can enjoy a redneck hot tub trailer. I am having breakfast. Breakfast of champions, really. And obviously Justin's here and it's Justy still. The guy in the 6x6, the deuce and a half, should be here later. And then another guy should be here later. And then we're going to have a car show later. Right there. And I will definitely take you to that. But I'm going to sit and relax, enjoy this nice, cool morning, probably somewhere in the shade, because this is getting a little warm. Alright, we're here. Car show's getting started. It's about 11 o'clock, so we're about 4 hours away. Over there you got Brad and Samantha in the Dodge van. Kai Harwood and Justin Patton from Old Junk and a Dog. Kai's driving the Dent side and the Shasta trailer. Gotta show that to you. Of course, you've got Whiskey Gas Garage and the Lincoln Log Cabin Luxury Living Room and Limousine with love, and the redneck hot tub trailer behind. And of course, back there is my van. So the church people are setting up for food and everything. They're gonna be cooking free food, and then over there the band is setting up, and I don't know what else is going on. So I'm gonna make my way back over here to our little group hangout and try to enjoy ourselves, play with the dogs, and do what I can to help if I can help. So where are you? Why aren't you here? Well, the car show has been somewhat of a success. Check this out. 1928 Cadillac. It's got a modern drivetrain in it. Ford 9-inch rear end. If you look here, it's got air conditioning and automatic transmission. I have been told that's her daily driver. Let's go look at some of the other cars. The biggest part of the problem is it rained like crazy today. But check it out. There's GTO, a couple of Mustangs, got a Corvette, and a Challenger. That's a Moke.
Yeah, these are more Australian.
This is from. This is probably my favorite car here, the Cougar. Man, there's things I'm not interested in, like that Suburban, but it's cool. I mean, it's kind of cool. But it kind of got rained out too, so a lot of people left, and everything. Plus, there's been some drama, but we won't talk about that. And anyway, I'm gonna go back over here, regroup with my people, and we're gonna have a nice night around the fire tonight, and then head out in the morning. Can you tone it down for the video?
Oh, you're shooting a video?
I'm gonna shoot a video over it later. Thank you. Golly, I love those lights. Perfect.
I love it. It is. Look at that. That's gorgeous.
I know. Oh my gosh. So, the next morning, I hadn't showered in 2 days. Brad and Samantha the day before had figured out that you could go to the Civic Center in Baldwin to get a shower, so I headed over there. Look at that Roadmaster wagon. Just chilling in the parking lot. Ooh, look at that conversion van just chilling in the parking lot. Whew, good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are in Baldwin, Missouri. We're actually at the Point Recreation Center for Baldwin, right here. And I desperately needed a shower. Now, Sam and Brad, they figured out that you could get a shower here. They came yesterday, got a shower. We're leaving today. I needed one, so I came over here. These people are just salt of the earth people. I went in, $10. I was able to use the locker room, get a shower. It's a non-resident fee. You can get it for the day, but there's a pool here. Let's see what else. Pool, gym. I mean, all kinds of stuff. They talked about it. I'll put it in the description below. But the Point, Baldwin, Missouri. You can come in and get a shower if you're traveling through. Missouri is one of the more beautiful states I think that I've had an opportunity to pass through in my lifetime. Every state is beautiful in its own way, right? Being a truck driver, you get to see a lot of different places. But Missouri is green and clean. It's an interesting. It's sort of like a Norman Rockwell painting, you know, or you know, something out of the Saturday Evening Post, basically. And it's like that everywhere you go. It doesn't matter where you go in Missouri. It's like that everywhere you go. Anyway, we're gonna go back over here to the church, see if everybody's there. If they are not, then we have to head directly west immediately, because that means they left without me. But I told them they could and should leave without me if I took too long. So I think I've only been gone about 30 minutes, so we'll see if they're packed up and ready to go or whatever. We are monitoring, oh, they're still there. We are monitoring channel 14. That is the official Poverty Tour channel this year. And so we'll see where we are. But oh, Chad's already gone. And looks like we got Sam and Brad are still here. We got Jim Drury. There'll be a shipyard, and we got a couple. We got Cole and Will that are going along with us. So anyway, let me check back in with these guys and figure out what we're doing, and then we'll go from there. So I didn't know we were waiting on people, and of course they're here now. Oh, a diplomat. So
you know what happened?
The Dippy's here.
I'm gonna walk past Ryan. I'm gonna walk past Ryan because he snubbed me. He snubbed. I don't know how you missed the van. It was back there by the other van. Hey, how did you miss me? I'm first off, it's impossible to miss me as big as I am. But then I drive a van too, and somehow you managed to miss the van as well. So you walked right past me. So of course we got wild YouTubers out here doing the wild YouTuber thing. Chris Jansen and his Buick 64. Where did Chris go? Chris, it's a 64, right? Oh, I love this thing. God, that's a good looking car. No, I didn't bring it. I did not. Sorry. Huh? No courtesy light. You know what is funny about that? I was in the trailer the other day, and I was going, I promised a bulb to somebody. Who was it? Nah, that's it. I'm just going to leave it here, because I'm leaving the trailer, so. Yeah, so. But then you got Ryan and his diplomat, and Canadian Dave's around here somewhere, but my last interaction with him left me feeling pretty sick, so. Oh, Canadian Dave brought a Toyota. A rusty Toyota, it looks like. Or a dirty Toyota. Anyway, where's Canadian Dave? Let's go find him. Hey, you crazy Canadian, get away from my van. I understand that. Why do you have to point out the one thing that's wrong with it?
Oh, here's this wonderful
beautiful luxury. The very first thing I see is you've abused it.
No, I haven't abused it. It came like that. They gave it to me without that piece of plastic on it.
That's very weird about it.
Well, no, but then they gave me a whole van too. So,
There is that.
I mean, what are you gonna say about it? So, well, we are well on our way. We stopped in Evansville for a little bit of fuel for everybody that needed fuel. I got 31 gallons, so I ought to be okay. I've got my sugar-free Dr. Pepper here, which actually isn't too bad. I usually don't drink sugar-free Dr. Pepper. That would be the Rumble Strip. Hold on. Now, we're not on the Rumble Strip. We got 10 all together riding with us right now. So far, it's the K-Rolla leading the way. We've got Ryan's Garage with Kids and his Diplomat. We've got Trans Ams and dash cams in his 64 Buick LeSabre. We got Kai with his dent side. I believe it's a 78 dent side or 76 dent side, sitting on an F-250 frame. It's like a 96 F-250 frame. We've got...
Dead Armadillo counts up to 1 so far.
Awesome. So we've got Canadian Dave in a Toyota Corolla, it looks like, or a Toyota Camry. I'm not real sure. It's got too much salt and dust, like dirt on it to really tell. And then we've got Will in his Chrysler LeBaron. We've got Cole in his Astro van, GMC's Safari van. Sorry, the GMC is the Safari. Old Jug and a Dog and his Justy. And then we got Brad and Sam in their 84 Dodge conversion van, which is way cool on the inside. We really kind of need to take a look at that at some point. Remind me to do that later. Anyway, we're going to Diamond's Ruins first. Check out Diamond's Ruins on Route 66. And then from there, well, I don't know. Jim's in charge. I'm not in charge of this route. All right. So we hit a little bit of a storm. Well, a pretty considerable rainstorm on 44 heading towards Joplin. We were trying to beat it. We didn't make it. As you know, Jim has problems with his fuse box getting wet, unfortunately, with the build that he created with the K-Rolla. And but let me show you. All right. Anyway, so I'm videoing your truck. Well, you're videoing me, videoing your truck. Okay. So anyway.
Road Ranger.
I know. So he oh, the pizza's good. Yeah. So we're at a truck stop that I used to frequent on a regular basis. Hey, Jim. And he's gotten pizza because I think we're all hungry. I've got bologna and bread. What? Oh.
I got room for food in my car.
Let's see what's in Jim's truck here.
Don't look at all of the junk.
Oh yeah, well, I'm not gonna look at all the junk. Oh yeah. It's only slightly wet in the floorboard of Jim's truck. But if you knew how much it had rained, you would know that that's understandable. Especially for Jim's truck. So let's see. Somewhere under here is a fuse box. Our fuse box keeps getting wet. In there somewhere. But everybody else has stopped here. So. Oh yeah.
My defrost isn't working.
And the opulence. Yes, we are blocking 2 diesel lanes, and I don't care. I used to be a truck driver, and I don't care.
Yeah, we rolled up.
That's what it is. All right, so the 3 problems that we had: Jim's K-Rolla and the fuse block. Ryan Artisana with Ryan's Garage with Kids. He was having an overheating issue a little bit, boiling some fuel. And then the other thing was he just got here and he had to idle it up. And so I kind of looked at him and I said, isn't that a sign of a vacuum leak? And he goes, yes. I said, isn't that also like... I said, it's a sign of a vacuum leak. And then he said, but it's also running hot. And I said, isn't that a sign of a vacuum leak? And he goes, yes. I said, did you rebuild the carburetor recently? And he goes, actually about 3 months ago I did. And he hasn't been able to drive that car a whole lot because it's been giving him so much trouble as far as the brakes are concerned. So he tightened the, I said, have you checked the carb bolts? And so he checked the carb bolts and the car's running great now. So he said he got a quarter turn out of each one of those bolts, which is probably what the problem is. Kai, in his 76 F250 dent side, unfortunately is having some shifting issues. We think that what's happening with it is it's getting some water into the sensor for the transmission because it's sitting on like a 96. It's sitting on like a 96 F250 chassis with the drivetrain and the transmission of the 96 F250 chassis. So, with that being the case, he's going to try it out. If it's not working, we're going to pull his trailer with my van. And yeah, so we're, other than that, I think everybody else is fine. Kid in the LeSabre, Will, seems to be doing great, other than he's getting wet because it's a convertible. Who else? Justin is just trying to survive, you know, not being wet or whatever at this point. So let's see what Kai has to say. You think it's all right, or no speedometer? Okay. So two things. One, I now have 26 stickers instead of 27 stickers because I gave one to the Chinese guy who showed up to deliver dinner. And he saw the microphone on my chest and he was like, "What are you doing, streaming right now?" And I was like, "No, actually I'm doing a YouTube video." And he goes, "Oh, cool." So I came back in, got a sticker and gave it to him, and it's gone. Kai's problem ended up being bigger than he thought it was. There's a reluctor wheel or a sensor. It helps the sensor understand what's going on in the rear end. And I can't remember what it's called. Came loose. I'll throw a picture up so that you guys can see it. And he chased that problem until the next day as we were leaving Weatherford. So he chased it for another 2 days, replacing sensors, trying to figuring the sensors were burning out. And it ended up being the reluctor wheel or the sensor wheel or whatever it's called in the rear end. And that was actually the issue. So he got that welded up and put in place. And after that, he hadn't had a problem. Matter of fact, right now, he's in Topeka, Arizona, as we speak, with the pickup truck that he drove all the way to Kanab and then to Moab and then to Denver. And then he picked up his wife and they drove to California. And now they're on their way back from California on Route 66 back home to Oklahoma. So anyway, that's what's going on there. Let's get back to the video.
Can it fit more people? I brought a pry bar.
That's right, we're at Uranus. We have survived the worst of it. It looks like there's going to be no more storms today, which is pretty awesome. And we are going to now go to Uranus and see about some fudge and maybe some food. And even though I've already had a couple of sandwiches, and figure it the hell out. So let's try to see what we can do here. So I know you would have been very excited to see pictures from inside Uranus, but apparently I forgot to get some. I went in Uranus. I even got some fudge packed in Uranus, and I took it back out to the car. But I have to say, Uranus was an interesting place. It was a little uncomfortable. It was a little tight in there. A lot of people inside Uranus. But I managed to get in Uranus and out of Uranus pretty quickly. And then I had to jet because I had to be in Joplin. Well, I hated to do it, but I had to leave the group. Unfortunately, I have to be in Joplin sooner rather than later, so I can get some other stuff done ahead of schedule. I know I've got a couple people I need to meet with and that want to have dinner with me and make plans with them. So we're going to hit the highway pretty hard and head off. We did manage to get out of the truck stop. We went on to the O'Reilly's to grab a part for Kai's truck. That part, they ended up not having it, even though they said they had it, but the other one had it, but that one didn't have any power because of the storm. So he went to AutoZone. I think he got the part. He was still having a little bit of trouble, so he was heading back to the O'Reilly's to wait it out. And then on the way, it dried itself out enough that even though he only has the speedometer partially, it's at least shifting fully. So, and that's what he needed as far as his truck is concerned. I did get recognized we just stopped right there at Uranus, because we came from O'Reilly's back over here to Uranus to eat something, which I thought that they had like a full restaurant there, and they don't. They have what's called a creamery, and the creamery has hot dogs and nachos and stuff. So I already had a couple sandwiches, which is fine. And so I'm gonna head on to Joplin and try to meet up with some people. Uranus is nice. I like Uranus. It's very clean inside Uranus, and it's probably the cleanest Uranus I've ever seen. So I bought a little fudge from Uranus, and I like fudge from Uranus. I think I've never actually had fudge from Uranus, but I'm gonna try fudge from Uranus. So and then I got a little chocolate too, dark chocolate from Uranus. So we're gonna try it out, see how it is. I've passed Uranus a bunch of times. I've never stopped in Uranus, and so getting to stop in Uranus this time was actually a treat. So anyway, that's enough anal jokes. Let's go on to Joplin. Look at the turnout already, and this is the night before. Also, I'm driving a Cadillac Eldorado. More about this later. My gosh. Oh, there's that Falcon. Or no, Ford Galaxy. Alright, so there is a story with Andrew Zellman and the Poverty Tour Cadillac that you've got to know at this point. Because, as you probably know, the Poverty Tour Cadillac has been crushed. It's been the great big claw in the sky came and picked it up and swung it onto a pile of crap. And that's where it's at right now. It's on a pile of crap. So, we're going to take a break, and I'm going to tell the story about the Cadillac real quick so that you guys can know about it. A few months ago, before Poverty Tour, say 3 months ago, Andrew reached out to me. He had bought the Cadillac off of Dalton at some point and had it, was driving it around and was generally enjoying it, and he wanted to bring it on Poverty Tour. And he wanted to surprise Dalton with it on Poverty Tour, but he also wanted YouTubers to do something crazy with it on Poverty Tour. And I said, well, let me mull it over and think about it. And, of course, at the time, I'm not a very big YouTuber. And I'm not a very big YouTuber now. I have 600, 700 subscribers at this point. So we're pretty close to 700. I suspect probably 700 by tomorrow. But, and maybe more later on. So, the deal is that he reached out to me. He said, I want some YouTubers to do something crazy with it. I said, okay, well, let me think about it. Because by that point, we had that stupid car show going. And everything. So I got with my friends on that stupid car show, and I said, hey, what do we want to do with this Cadillac? And I came up with the idea of stealing the Cadillac in Kanab and going to see the Grand Canyon. But we all had to be wearing Hawaiian shirts in order to do that. So we all packed our Hawaiian shirts with the anticipation that we were going to steal this Cadillac. Except when Andrew showed up, to back up a little bit more, then he told me that once he was done with it, it was going to Zane's to get crushed. And I said, that'd be such a shame if it made it all the way and it was running great, it shouldn't get crushed. He says, well, I would give it to a YouTuber if I knew that a YouTuber was going to do something with it. And I said, okay. I said, I'm a YouTuber. I said, I would love to have it. And he goes, all right, you can have it. And we made arrangements basically for it to be left in Denver or to be left at Zane's or whatever. I made sure that it could go back to Dalton's if it needed to. I made sure that it could go to Zane's if it needed to. I made sure it could stay with Chad in Denver until I could get back to it or whatever. But essentially, I would get the Cadillac at the end of the tour. And that was the deal. So we proceeded on with everything. And we got to the point where everything. So that was why I was driving the Cadillac that night, because I could drive the Cadillac if I wanted to. And I drove it up to the store to go to the bathroom, get a Dr. Pepper, and come back. And that was why I had the Cadillac that night. So we go on the tour. We got about halfway between Weatherford and Tucumcari, and Andrew found a 66 Pontiac Catalina up in Santa Fe that he really, really, really wanted. So he broke off from the tour to go to Santa Fe to pick up the Pontiac And then he paid for the Pontiac. He drove to Denver, picked up Chad's Excursion and a trailer there, drove back down, picked up the Pontiac, drove back up to Denver, and dropped all that off. And unfortunately, in between Tucumcari and Santa Fe and Denver, Andrew pushed the car a little hard. And by the time he got to Denver with it, he said it was down like 2 cylinders, maybe 3. Which, at that point, I don't really want it if it's not running really well. So, we talked about it a little bit. He said he was going to drive it back to Missouri, and if it made it all the way back to Missouri, it was mine if I wanted it. If not, he was going to crush it. And I said, well, listen, I made him a deal. I said, if it doesn't make it to Missouri, send it to Glory. I said, if it makes it to Missouri and it's not running great, send it to Glory. I said, I really don't want to mess with trying to replace a motor in an Eldorado. I don't really like them anyway, but I really liked that one, and I just thought it would be a blast to own it. So that is why I said more on the Cadillac later, because there was a good possibility that I was going to actually own the Cadillac after Poverty Tour ended. So, back to the video. Good morning. We're here setting up registration. John Toscone, your tech guy. And, hi. Yeah, there it is. Give it a try. Yeah. It's not quite 7 a.m. And,
Better than the night before.
we already have this many people here. Hi, Jim. No, that isn't enough information as far as what happened that morning. So let me give you a better rundown. We ended up having a line to check in starting at about 7 a.m. We were swamped, basically. It was me, John from Toscone, your tech guy, and his wife, Brooke. And we handled the check-in. I mean, just hit it, feet running, basically. And the way we had it set up was you would show us your waiver. We would give you a golden ticket. You would take that golden ticket over to Marcus, and you would get your banner or your small sticker or your land yacht sticker or whatever it is that you needed. And then you were happily on your way. And we knocked it out of the park, let me tell you. We got everybody checked in, I think, by like 8:30 or so. It was about 400 people to check in. I'm guesstimating. I don't know that it was 400 people, but we had 271 cars when we left Joplin. And there were a lot of wives and kids there. So I'm going to roughly estimate that it was about 400 people. And we just knocked it out of the park. And then we got on our cars. And the great thing is we did a morning announcement. And this is one of the great things about Poverty Tour. If you hear anything about Poverty Tour that's good, let me tell you this, okay? We made an announcement. Dalton made his announcement. I made an announcement real quick. And we said, here's where we're going. We'll see you there. Have fun. Make your way today. And people did. They instead of lining up behind each other and creating one long parade of cars that would tie up traffic and cause traffic jams or whatever, people got in their cars before Dalton left, and they left. They took off. They went out on their own adventure. And we did the same thing. All right, so we're out, and we've been on the road here probably. Been on the road here about 20 miles or so since the mall, and we are heading for Pitcher, Oklahoma right now to go check that out. It is a bit of a madhouse this morning, so plenty of chatter on the radio as you can hear, and we're having a good time. We're enjoying ourselves. So
You can dodge a run, you can dodge a ball.
So we're gonna continue on. I'll check back with you guys later. Yeah, we'll just sit here in the ice cold air conditioning of the opulence. Videotape all the YouTubers videotaping us. I'm good with that. You got Dalton up there on the right, build season, walking back to his car, which sounds incredible, by the way. Irish Outlaw Garage getting out of his Lucille. Anyway, we're
Memorial to Harambe.
We're having a good time, that's for sure. All right, we're at the Blue Whale of Catoosa. Check this out. There's build season, Steve, right there. So we're running. We ran like what, 5 miles together or something like that.
Yeah, we're all melting at the same time.
Huh?
It's extremely hot.
It's
111 degree heat index today.
Oh wow! I didn't realize it was 111 degree heat index.
Yeah, us northern folk don't do well in this temperature.
No, they do not.
It's horrible.
So he's weak. It's okay.
We're getting ready
So.
to go into the.
All right, it's all right. We're in the mobile command center,
Yes, we are.
and this is everybody with build season, Steve and his crew. So yeah,
Dude, this
everything.
fan is sick.
Oh, I know, and they're all here to cool off because I have air conditioning and they don't, and they're suffering terribly because they're from Minnesota. So yeah, or Wisconsin. So it's the same. Who knows? Somewhere up north. We're running like 3 wide right here. Oh, we were. Or at least running 2 wide right now. I've got this Javelin right here next to me. Dalton up there. James Vita, FOMO Powerco. And then Build Season Steve is in the Malibu. It's fantastic. Justin in the Justy with the super big radio. He's been able to hear everybody and talk to everybody. What an amazing radio he's got this time. He beats me.
Give it all I got, Captain.
Alright, so it's been a day. And John Summit, his Pontiac was the first down, basically. Well, not the first down. I mean, a lot of people, other people broke down or whatever. But I spent the day basically helping them out.
7 gallons, I'm full.
And then, yeah, shut up, Justin. So, we're now at a very small Sinclair station. Where's that sign? There it is, over there. Hold on. We're at a very small Sinclair station. Me, Timmy Strawn, and Justin. There, Sinclair station. There's Justin and Timmy Strawn over there. We're topping off at $3.35 a gallon. Be jealous. And we're going to head on to Weatherford. It is about 9:30, which means it's been a long day, and it's going to be a longer day still, about an hour and a half still. But anyway. John Summit, his car is safe with Kai Harwood. They're going to get things taken care of. They're going to go home and then figure it out from there. But the Pontiac is dead currently. So, anyway. Onward and upward. All right, we're going to try this without the microphone because it is now 10:45, and I would like to go to bed at some point. I've been up since about 8:30 this morning working on this and working on a couple of other things. Going to get a haircut. There you go. It was more than that as far as John Summit was concerned. That poor Pontiac, he fought that Pontiac hard, and it wore him out, unfortunately. And he got to the point where he was overheated. So I kind of insisted that he get in the van, and he did get in the van to cool off like the Wisconsinites did. And then he got back out of the van to work on the car because he felt guilty for everybody working on his car. And I turned around to look at him, and I could see that he was not doing well. And I jumped out and looked at him and said, "Get back in the van." And he goes, "No, I got to do the work." I said, "No." I said, "I'm pulling rank." And he looked at me, he goes, "You're pulling rank." I said, "I'm Big Mike." I said, "I'm pulling rank." I said, "Get back in the van because we're not going to have this." And so he got back in the van, and he was pretty close to being, he was heat exhausted. It was heat exhaustion, and it was pretty close to being heat stroke, pretty sure. Poverty Tour is this great family of people, and I called Buff, and I said, "Hey, where are you?" And he happened to be right where we were, and I said, and he goes, "What's up?" And I said, "I need you," I said, "John Summit has gotten overheated, I need you to come look at him, just check him over." And he goes, "On my way." And he was there in 5 minutes and popped out, and he's checking John. Everything's fine. But the Pontiac was not. John stayed in the van to cool off, and I ended up towing his trailer to Kai Harwood's house, which is about an hour away from where we were. And Timmy Strawn, clutch, by the way. Timmy, I know you're going to watch this. Came in clutch. Timmy decided that he was going to tow a car trailer behind his truck for like 3,000 or 4,000 miles. I mean, the trip itself was 2,800 miles, not including the mileage to get to Joplin and to get back home from Denver. And Timmy towed a trailer the entire way. And let me tell you, he hauled a ton of people. But I called him. He immediately showed up. We loaded the little camper trailer that John was towing behind the van, and I towed it to Kai Harwood's, and Timmy loaded up the Pontiac and towed it to Kai Harwood's and dropped it off. Kai came through in an amazing way, and it's a story that deserves telling, and I'm going to tell it right here, Kai, and I know Kai's watching. But I called Kai. Dalton said, "Stevie's got something he wants to sell." or that he can, a driver for my mom and dad. And I said, okay. I called Kai, and we talked it back and forth. And finally, he settled on letting them borrow his Bronco. He's got a brand new Bronco. I've seen it. It's a very nice Bronco. And he decided to let him borrow his Bronco. And not only did they borrow the Bronco, I thought they were going to go home. We got the trailer down there, set the trailer up so they could get in and cool off and go to bed and recover. And I, not only were the Bronco was available for them to go home or wherever they wanted to, is what Kai said. And they were going to go home when I left them. They didn't. Kai let them borrow the Bronco, and they continued the trip. And I saw them the next morning in Weatherford. I saw them the next morning in Tucumcari. I saw them in Gallup, and then they were going to the Grand Canyon and then turning around and going back home. And absolutely incredible. And they were talking to Kai about buying his Bronco. I don't know if the deal went through or if it didn't or whatever, but just incredible camaraderie with the people that are on Poverty Tour. They're so giving. They're so, generous and everything. And it was incredible to see that kind of generosity pop up again. I mean, I've benefited from it, and it was incredible to see it again. So, yeah, that was the story of John Summit. So let's, you know the drill. All right, it's been a morning. So yesterday was a tough day on a lot of people because of the AC, no AC, and how hot it was and everything. But we're here at the Stafford Air and Space Museum. Random guy walking in right now. They've been amazing and awesome, and it is so good. We've done some good for them. They said it's one of their busiest days so far this year, which is great. But check out this lineup. Dalton's LTD, there's Angus's Pontiac, FOMO Power Co., Puddin's van, Morty's truck. Back over there with the hood open is Build Season's Steve with his Malibu. We got Steve Brigadier from Rust Farm back there in the New Yorker, and then the van. The lowly van. But, it is what it is. So we're going to be rolling out here soon as Dalton gets done looking at the museum. But again, Stafford Air and Space Museum, they have been fantastic. If you get a chance to come by, check it out. Alright, we're in Clinton, Oklahoma at the Route 66 Museum. I've paid, the Gillums from Gillum Farms paid for me to go in, which is amazing. And otherwise I would take it here. Check this out. Check out this old grader. That is cool. And original survey equipment for surveying the route. This place is actually pretty big. Look how far back it goes. Very happy to be here. I'm having a blast. Oh.
Left turn, Clyde. Making a right. Yeah, I got a sweet spot in my heart for Chevy Novas, and that one looks pretty sweet. 15 appropriate.
Just to the right. Look at that.
Higher.
Somewhere.
Higher.
If it'll. Look at that though. There it is. A sticker right there. Alright. Alright, here's part of the fun about Poverty Tour, just so you know, okay? Everybody's a car person, and every single one of the car people on this tour are like, yeah, I can do that, or somebody on the tour is going to be like, yeah, I can help with that. Yeah, we can figure that out. So, story time. A little bit of a story time. I've acquired a Cadillac on the tour. Now, I acquired a Cadillac for this much money, because, in all honesty, there's problems with it, and somebody cut the top off of it. And it runs and drives, goes down the road just fine. It's made probably thousands of miles, or hundreds of miles at this point. Could probably make thousands of miles or whatever. But the guy driving the car, the one that's decided he wants to scrap it, and but he'll give it to me if I'm going to save it. has, well, he's found something else he really, really wants. And I'm going to let him announce it because it's his. But that means that the Cadillac has to go somewhere. So we're going to Amarillo to another tourist place, Peter's place. And Peter is going to keep the Cadillac in Amarillo for me until such time as I can get back to it. So we're going to abandon the Cadillac and keep moving. And that's part of the fun of Poverty Tour. The fun of Poverty Tour is figuring things out on the fly, obviously. So we are James Galbraith, Rusted Junk Garage, I believe. And he is trying to get his 66, 67 Imperial to not boil its fuel. So we just tried to, he put a return line on it and sent it back in the tank. And so now he thinks that that's going to help or whatever, but his return line's hanging down. So Andrew, right here, the guy with the pole barn garage Poverty Tour Cadillac, is helping to get the line pulled back up. And then we're three are going to hit the road for Tucumcari. It's 6:08. We're in Shamrock, Texas, 2.5 hours away from Tucumcari, which is fine, obviously. And we don't need to be there anytime soon. And we're up early in the morning, you know. So, no, I've got water. I appreciate it, though. I'm well prepared. And I'm in air conditioning, so these two are going to go get some electrolytes because neither one of them have air conditioning. And so, okay, they're not going to go get electrolytes, but we're going to go. Anyway, this Cadillac is mine after the tour. Somehow. We're working on it. All right, on the road. Good morning, and welcome back to day 2 of me trying to edit this video and get all the stories about Poverty Tour told so you guys can enjoy it. What you need to know, at the end of that last clip, I cut it off in Shamrock, and I started concentrating on James Galbraith's Imperial, his Gold Imperial. And we managed to limp it about 20, 30 miles further down the road. We finally got to exit 98. And we were out there trying to figure out what to do to try to help him, to help his car run cooler, or try to get it to run better so that he could continue. And while I was helping, I had a knife in my hand, was trying to cut a zip tie, and I made the one mistake of cutting towards yourself. And when the zip tie let loose, I stabbed myself in the finger really, really deep. Matter of fact, so deep that the good doctor was like, "Holy crap, this is deep." That's good to hear from a doctor. So I wrapped it up with a bunch of gauze. I'll put a picture up so that you guys can see it. And I told James that his car was possessed, that it had taken blood from me, on top of all the blood it had taken from him, and I took off. And because I absolutely had to be in Tucumcari for the next morning, and I needed to get some good sleep. So I left him at exit 98, and I hoofed it. Let me tell you. I wound it up to a speed that I'm not going to tell you, but I will tell you that I covered 99 miles in 70 minutes from exit 98. I did the math from there to where I stopped. On the way there, I got a phone call from Terry Green. There were some storms on the horizon right there on the border of New Mexico, and they just seemed to just constantly build right there on the border with New Mexico. And we ended up, he called me, he said, "Hey, I'm stuck here. My defroster's not working. I can't get the windows clear. I feel unsafe driving." And he said, "Hey, can you grab Doris, his wife, and take her to the hotel?" Which I'm like, yeah, of course I can do that. I don't have a problem doing that. So I raced. I mean, allegedly, like I said, going speeds above the speed limit, and didn't slow down for Amarillo. And got there, and by the time I got there, the rain had sort of let up a little bit, and we kind of discussed it and decided that the best solution was for me to turn on my flashers and for them to follow me and just go where I go. And so that's what we did. I had him, I think Justin Patton from Old Chunk and a Dog, Terry Green from Sinister Motorsports, Justin Patton from Old Chunk and a Dog, and then it was just the three of us, and we stopped to get a little fuel further up the road because he was really stuck because there was no gas at those pumps because of the storm, which was the old Russell's, right, like 3 miles in to New Mexico. And we ended up getting about 55 miles an hour. We ended up getting to Tucumcari. They went to their hotel. I went to the campground with Chad. He looked at my finger, bandaged it all up, and in the next clip, you'll actually see it bandaged all up. And then the next morning, got up, went to the convention center. It was great. No issues with anybody. Everybody behaved themselves. Had a good time hanging out with everyone. And then we hit the road, and that's the next clip you're going to see.
You guys are welcome to keep going or stop with us if it matter, but he's like probably on empty right now.
So today is Wednesday. We had another successful morning meetup this morning. Everybody's doing great. Puddin is turning around and heading back to Oklahoma. It's too far away from home for him, is what I've been told. He's got a really great van that he brought out, and he's cool. He's a cool dude. Glad that I got to meet him. Mortke's going with this. I don't know where Angus is going or if Angus is continuing. I didn't ask, and we left them all behind. I'm tired. I've been running with all over the place.
There was for sale.
And I'm just ready to kind of get on the highway and cruise today. So, which is kind of what I'm doing. I'm on the highway. I'm gonna cruise. I'm following.
We should buy the truck stop.
I'm following a wild John Harbison and his family down the highway for Albuquerque. I pick up a little R134 because honestly, this could be cooler. And there's a guy in a Buick Sabre or a Buick Wildcat that has offered to help fix it all up. And if not, John's got the tools to do it. So anyway, would love to get videos, kind of running around, doing a bunch of stuff. Unfortunately, talking to a bunch of people, it's kind of hard to get video. And but anyway, we're onward and upward, heading out. So this next clip that you're about to see is the one time that the Wolfbox actually did what I wanted it to do, which was download video, and I am so glad that it did.
Just look at it. Roller dog coming in hot. Later dog.
Yeehaw, cowboy, you just keep on rolling.
Big Mike!
Steve!
Road dog cannot wade 2 feet of water to go rescue people in a monsoon. Candy dog. Hey, look, my friend! Okay, Big Mike, give me a big smile.
I got it on.
Headed to Cuervo if you're interested.
I think we're just heading straight to Santa Rosa.
Smile, dude.
I love it, man. Oh, man, this is great.
Come on, roll that truck.
Look at the Model A's. Everybody's traveling down Route 66 this year. It's kind of weird, isn't it? All right, we just had a wonderful lunch here at the Silver Moon Cafe, Southwestern Silver Moon Cafe in Santa Rosa, New Mexico. From here, we're gonna run over to try to fix the CB problem that I'm having, try to fix a CB problem that John from Toss Corner, your tech guy, is having, and then we're gonna roll out. Trying to get to Gallup earlier tonight so that we can actually do the car show. So that's going to be great. Yeah, we're heading out. So one of the reasons that we were racing so hard to try to get to Gallup was that we were trying to get there so that we could do a live for that stupid car show. We wanted to really capture what was going on in that moment. The new friendships, the old friendships, the stories that were going on. We just the endurance tour of death. And we wanted to really capture that as we were going along. And we did. We got there, we put on the show, we invited a bunch of people for Poverty Tour, we invited old friends, we invited new friends, and we had our first live audience. I'm going to throw a picture up right now of what it looked like from the audience's perspective. And we had a great time doing that show. We'd been drinking a little bit, obviously, but we had a great time doing that show. After that, I turned in for the night, got a shower, felt great. Went to bed on a somewhat reasonable time, and then got up early the next morning and went out to do the meetup in Gallup. We were running late out of Gallup, in all honesty, and a lot of people, we started off the morning, we sent everybody on their way. Unfortunately, Chad had to go back home at that moment because of personal reasons, and a lot of people headed out, and then the problem that I had was that, or not the problem that I had, but one of the things that I stopped to help with was Jesse from Atomic Air Motors. So Jesse's Plymouth did not make it past Gallup, as you might know. And he needed a ride, basically, to try to find a car, but also to Kanab. And I've got an open front seat that honestly is up for anybody, very comfortable, air conditioned. He was riding without air conditioning in a 1959 Plymouth. So I offered to put him up in the front seat of my van. And we rode all the way to Kanab that day. And basically had a good time. And you're going to see that right now. Another fantastic morning meetup. We lost a lot of people, though. A bunch of people are going to California. A bunch of people are going back to Texas. A bunch of people are going back to Florida. So they made it as far as Gallup. And it's been fantastic watching all the new people experience it for the first time, really. Right now... and I know, I haven't been taking a lot of video, I get it, and everything. I'm hoping to take some more video today, but I will have a passenger, at least for a little while, if not all the way to Colorado, and that is Jesse from Atomic Air Motors. So unfortunately, his Plymouth blew the head gasket, and he's going to be riding with me for at least the duration of at most the duration of the trip. And maybe even beyond that, I don't know. So we'll see. And he will probably be videotaping quite a bit. So, if you haven't tuned into his channel, Atomic Air Motors, you should probably tune into his channel to see basically what happens beyond this. I'll try to take some video and do some stuff, but I'm a little disappointed in the Wolf Box. I can't get any video off of it, but I got some good video, and hopefully you've already seen it. So, anyway, we're going to go pick him up and everything, and we're going to get started for the day. Try to find some water and stuff so that we can we'd be well. I mean, we're gonna be well air conditioned today, but we'll be hopefully well hydrated too. So anyway, all right, catch you later. How many times you get to go where Forrest Gump went? My goodness, busy driving this guy around. That's part of the problem. So tell us what happened, Jesse, to your brand new 1959 Ford Plymouth.
I know, the Plymouth, so it's back in Gallup, New Mexico. Decided it wanted to stay in New Mexico. Blew head gaskets.
Yeah.
And started violently overheating yesterday. Tore it apart last night. Put a water pump on it. Tried to do a bunch of different things. Tried the stop leak, whatever. Nothing fixed it. So I had to leave it. And now I am in this van with Mike.
The Opulence.
The Opulence.
That's the name. That's the name, apparently.
I am on the hunt for another car.
So, yeah, so if you see a car, it'll be too late by the time you see this for him to buy one. But, share it with him anyway. In the meantime, I didn't know I was going to get to play Taxi out on Poverty Tour, but it's all right. It's this guy. And not too upset about that. Although you're not cuddling with me later. right, so here's the deal. Day 5 was an off day. So, and I didn't take any video that day. What I'm watching right now is actually from day 6 or June 6th, as far as the trip is concerned. I think it's the sunrise coming up, or the sunrise as far as the mountains are concerned, as I'm leaving camp. Now, what happened at the end of day 4? I went to dinner, actually. I took Jesse to his hotel. I met up with Steve Brigadier and Angus from Junkyard Digs on the Rust Farm, and we took Jesse and us, and we went to dinner at a very nice little barbecue place somewhere in Kanab. I can't remember the name of the place. I think it was called Gifts or Goffs or something like that, and I'll throw it down here in the just, you know, whatever here. Pretty good place. I thought they were a little expensive for what they gave us as far as meat was concerned, but the waitress was nice. After that, I went out to the campground. I watched the stars a little bit with John and his family from Toss Coin to Your Tech Guy, and then I went to bed. Next morning, free day. I didn't film at all. Nothing. Period. And went into town for breakfast, came back, had breakfast with everybody, and then later that afternoon, I watched John and Justin work on John's international scout, and then stayed out of the way generally, just was moral support or whatever. And then that evening that afternoon, Justin and I went into town. We did laundry and swam at Kai Harwood's Hotel with Ryan Artisana from Ryan's Garage and Kids, or Ryan's Garage with Kids, and just generally had a good time. After that, went right back out to the campground, took some beer out there, and just chilled, basically. Had some other fellow tourists come out that evening and look at the stars and everything. And they went up over the dunes and looked at the stars and came back, and we said our goodbyes, and we met up with them the next day. So that's pretty much what happened in Kanab. Nothing really to talk about other than that. Had dinner, had lunch with Jay Winkler from Gunther's Garagery. You saw that shirt yesterday. And that's pretty much it. Had a nice meal that night with a bunch of people from the tour, and then went back out to the campground and camped and watched the stars, saw shooting stars and everything, and went to bed early because I had to be up early for the meetup. Now, let's catch up on day 6 at the meetup. This trip has been way too much fun. Good morning, first off. We are driving Jay Bernard's 1960 Oldsmobile. Look at this thing. Horn doesn't work. No, it does work. Just barely. Look at this thing. Look at how cool this thing is. Flat top Oldsmobile, man. The other great thing is I fit in it, and comfortably. It's a stretch. It's a stretch where my feet are. Look at this. Far out my feet are, but I'm spread out. It feels good. Good morning, by the way. Welcome to day 6 of Poverty Tour. Well, we got all kinds of work going on over here. These guys are doing something. I'm not entirely sure, but look at the lineup we've got so far this morning. It's a great trip, man. If you're not here, you should be. All right, so this morning, June 6th of 2026, instead of running with the Harbisons, I decided to run with Dalton and them and his group. He had called me the night before, asked me what direction I was going. I told him I was going 89 to 12, 12 to 24, and then 24 up to 70, and then 70 across to 191 and down into Moab. And he said, well, is that the scenic route? And I said, yes, that is probably more scenic than 89, but either way you go, it's really scenic. And he said, all right, will you run with us? And I said, yeah, I'll run with you. So I waited for them, and then we headed out. looking at the view. Gosh. We have YouTubers doing YouTuber things, as you can see, but worth it.
Big Mike.
I don't even want to talk to you right now.
Come on, I'm not going up home.
This view is too
Yeah,
gorgeous.
you're right.
I mean,
I wish I could even try to capture this.
I know. I'm very happy with that piece of music. My editing style is to just jump in and just go clip by clip by clip, and then once it's basically what I want, then I go back over it and rewatch it, and then add anything that I think it needs at that point. I try to view it as you would, basically, and try to make sure that it's a good video for you. That piece of music, I made that just now, and it was perfect, and I put it in there, and it was even more perfect. I was very moved by that piece of music. It's very happy music, which I just love that. So, that night we did movie night. They started Cannonball Run. John headed out ahead of everybody. He actually went to Kins Lake Campground to get set up, decided that it was too hot and dusty, and made an audible call for his family and for me and Justin from Old Junk and a Dog and Bo's Garage. And I mean, a lot of people camped out there and had a great time, and a lot of people camped out there and thought it wasn't great, and I guess our spots weren't great. So we ended up at the hotel for the night, which I got a shower and everything, which was great. The next day, got up, we met about 10 a.m. instead of meeting at 9 a.m. That way everybody had time to get there. And then there were two groups that split off. So there were two routes that I planned. One was to the east side of Kanab, and one was to the west side of Kanab. The west side of Kanab was the off-road trail, Schaefer Trail, and the east side was an all-paved loop called LaSalle Loop. Dalton was not going to take the LTD on Schaefer Trail. The Magnum he might have, but the LTD he certainly wasn't going to. So he went this way, and we met up that morning. He took everybody that was going to LaSalle Loop and led that drive, and I took everybody that was going to Schaefer Trail and let John lead that drive because John's had some off-road experience and I don't have any. So, and John did a great job. So let's go to Schaefer Trail, or let's go to the next morning. We'll start off and then we'll be on Schaefer Trail. Morning. Welcome to day 7 of Poverty Tour. Me, are currently leading the off-road group to Schaefer Trail. So we decided to have the meeting at 10 a.m. Dalton has taken the group to LaSalle Loop. All those that are in land yachts to go play in the countryside and have a nice drive. And I am leading everybody off to Schaefer Trail in the Opulence. So we're going to see how she does today.
All right, worth it, Mike.
But we are going to, you guys got to see this. Hold on. Oh my gosh, look at this place. Seriously. There were so many times I passed through Moab on my way to Salt Lake City or back to Dallas or somewhere else. And I wanted to get out so bad and go exploring. And I never could. I'm glad I quit my job. These idiots have decided to actually follow me. Which I don't know why they would, but okay. I said they're fine with it.
Mike, you're gonna drag them skirts, all right?
The Opulence is now a 4-wheel drive vehicle. Look at this.
Pretty good climb here. Justy's gonna need some speed.
Oh shit, I might need to go to the lower gear. Hold on. Look at this. Look at this ragtag bunch of cars too. We're taking the, Justin's taking the hood off the Justy. Try to keep it cool. But you'd almost think the apocalypse had happened with the cars that we've got on this trip. This is fantastic. And the Opulence is doing its thing. No problem so far. Hood off. Cooling the car down. Look at this. And I gotta worry about my track, but that's okay. We're gonna get it figured out. Oh my God, look at the view. So
I gotta
good.
say, this is a beautiful drive.
Yep, this is what we're doing. I'm not paying attention to the road again.
You might want to keep right, Mike. That rough stuff looks like it might grab a skirt.
Gotcha. Keeping right. That would definitely grab a skirt. Tractor doing tractor things. Love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, really. God, look at this view.
I want to hang back and watch the Opulence for a second.
Thelma and Louise Point. I'm pretty sure this is where Thelma and Louise drove the van. Or, well, the Thunderbird off the cliff. I'm tempted to a little bit. But only just a little bit. This is so cool.
Yes, no. Either slow, take her easy, don't fall and slip. Yeah, reduce speed, pass.
Oh my gosh. Whoa. That's death right there, I'm pretty sure. Oh my God, that might be death for my tires. Oh, I heard something hit. Oh no. All right, we're good, we're fine. Everything's okay. Oh, look at Justin and the Justy over there. The majestic Justy. Got a John and a tractor still. Look at the line of cars.
That dude looks at home out here for some reason. He can hear you, he just can't move fast.
Oh.
Ambulance, brake, brake, brake. You're not making this one.
Oh no.
We need a bell coming down?
Oh no. Oh, we're in trouble. All right, so here's the moment that was like the one moment in all of Poverty Tour where I was going like, maybe I fucked up, right? So you heard as I'm coming around the corner, you hear John say, stop, 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 ambulance, stop, stop, stop. You're not getting through this. And I come around the curve and you hear me just go, oh no, oh no, oh no. Because the way that this thing looked was it was a good drop on this side, which would have probably ripped off the skirts, and then it was a good drop on this side, which would probably have ripped off the skirts. And there wasn't really any way to get around it without boards or stacking rocks or something like that. And I kept looking at it going like, I think I can do it. But what I saw was a line that was this way, and it was smoother down. It was right about where the tires would be on the van, and I'm really good at knowing where the parts of my vehicle are. But in order to do that, I was going to have to scrape along a tree. Well, that's my fault for deciding to take a van on an off-road trail. So I kind of looked at it, and at one point you see Timmy get out of the truck, and he walks up to talk to me about it and tell me that I'm not going to get through it. I tell him I think I can. You could see me inching towards this like drop-off or whatever, this whoopsie as they call it. And you see Timmy go around the other side of the van and just kind of raise his hands like, I don't feel comfortable telling him what to do. And I don't remember if John came over and led me through it or if I just kind of took a chance and went down through it and was just like, it is what it is. But either way, I squeezed up against the tree, scraped the side of the van up along the side of with the tree, and then got down and off of it without actually bumping anything, which was pretty good. Did I damage the opulence on this trip? Yes, I did. At some point, it rocked violently like this, and I heard this side slam twice, and this side slam once at some other point. And it did a little damage to the skirts, but that's my fault for taking it on an off-road trail. Other than that, it performed flawlessly. So let's get back to the trail. Well, we ran across a spot where the opulence shouldn't have made it, but my confidence said it could, and it did. Timmy doubted me. John doubted me. I know. I doubted me. So
that thing really did not clear.
I know. I did a little damage, but it's all right. At some point, Terry from Sinister Motorsports, I just realized I was wearing his shirt today, hopped in out of the Justy. He'd been riding with Justin and the Justy on this trip, and he hopped out of the Justy and hopped in with me in the van. So you're going to hear his voice on this section of video. This is narrow.
Yeah, and it's way down there too.
Oh, too fast.
Yeah, found it.
That's fine. We're good. Let me get a little closer to your edge. There we go. Look at that. Look at the deuce and a half down there. Oh my goodness gracious. There's my window. There's the side. There's the freaking cliff side. Oh man, I think that's the bump stops. We're gonna slow down for this. Well, we're not there yet. Still have a ways to go. Look at this view. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure the road to the left is the road we came in on. And then we turned up this road right here and came up here. Golly. All right, Terry, so what did you think?
I think it was an incredible day. The drive down is great. I think if you don't have a four-wheel drive, you shouldn't do it, but Mike in the van don't listen to stuff like that. The switchbacks coming up are absolutely stunning. The switchbacks are cool, but Big Mike likes to drive way too close to the edge. Other than that, I had a great time. And if you're in a group and you have the option to do something or not, you should go do it, because you don't know what you're going to miss. So I would have missed that had I not went, and I would have missed all the great views. We had a lot of good fun. We laughed, broke some stuff, but all in all, great day.
All right. And that's pretty much it for today. That was all I was going to do, was take Schaefer Trail. I am heading now back to the pool, where you may or may not join me poolside. And if you don't, then that's the end of the day. We'll talk about tomorrow. As I watch a Wild John, a Bo, a Will, a Wild Justin head back this direction, I sit by the poolside. It's a magical place. So I sat around by the pool that night drinking, had dinner by the pool and everything, went upstairs, turned in early because I knew I was going to have to be up early, and we had no meeting on June 8th. So that evening, Jim from Inevitable Jim stopped by. Him and his wife had a wonderful time hanging out with them, drinking and talking about life and all that stuff. And he asked me, he said, what are you going to do in the morning? I said, well, I don't know. I hadn't really quite decided what I was going to do, but I was going to head for Denver either way. I said, do you want to run together in the morning? I said, yes, I would love to run with you in the morning. And so we met up at a local Maverick, and then we took off. And thus begins day 8. Welcome to day 8 of Poverty Tour. So we are on our way to Denver, Colorado, or Berthoud, Colorado, for the after party for the Poverty Tour hosted by Whiskey Gas Garage. We are running today with Jim from the Inevitable Jim, Bo from Bo's Garage, and Timmy. It's just Timmy. Timmy doesn't have a YouTube channel and isn't going to get a YouTube channel. And of course, you got me. Check out the view. in kind of a hurry. But look at this beautiful, babbling, rapid stream. The stream's over there. I just stop at this vault toilet and use it. And I would say, best vault toilet experience, 10 out of 10, would do it again. And after that wonderful experience, well, I went on to Berthoud, Colorado to the party. Chad got up on stage and sang for a little while. And then we gave a Lincoln Log Cabin luxury living room and limousine with love away to a very lucky young man named Harley who lives in Wisconsin.
I know you can. He's cheap, but he ain't free. Harley, you're driving that thing home, my friend. Where's Harley? All the way to Wisconsin. You now own it.
And then we wrapped up Poverty Tour 2026 in the only way that a YouTuber could.
All right, Harley, we're going to get the band back up here. Hey, we want to thank everybody who came out on Poverty Tour. This is a period. And for all the YouTubers who are going to do some filming of everybody saying goodbye for Poverty Tour, this isn't really goodbye, but we want to get this stuff out of the way while we still got sunlight. Because Mortsky's a professional. Because he's so sexy. I'll tell you what, if I had a sister and she had like a touch of the tism, I'd let him date Mortsky. That's just a touch of the tism. But, all right, guys, so on the count of 3. All right, one more time. I don't know if I can.
All right, I'm carrying a boatload of stickers. So is this guy. I don't want to carry these home. Come see us.
Yeah, if you got stickers. So on the count of 3, everybody say, Poverty Tour 2026, 1, 2, 3. Poverty Tour 2026. Hey, that's gonna be on somebody's video. Look for yourself. Hey, I'm gonna give you the Harley the title and a can full of gas, and then 12 lessons on how it may or may not make it out of the park. Anyway, it'll be fine. We just drove it 5,000 miles.
All right, wants to do a burnout.
And Kai's got to do a burnout, so you get to video that too. So y'all hang in, hang out, hang on. Big hand for this band, the Front Range Wranglers. They're going to have a tip jar up here. Make sure you take care of them. They've been great to you. We'll see y'all in just a few minutes.
And then after that, well, it was time to sit back and kind of just enjoy the evening, which ended up being a lovely evening. There were some lessons that we learned along the way as far as Poverty Tour was concerned. And those lessons pretty much were 8 days is probably too much, 400 miles a day is probably too much, and we have to have a party at the end. Last year, what we did was we traveled about 250, 300 miles a day all the way out to Tucson. And then when we got to Tucson for about a day and a half, we hung out with each other. We drank, we talked, we laughed, we had fun, we listened to music. It was a great time. We raced our cars. And you know, if you've gotten this far, that I raced the van at that time. So we had a blast. And the party this year was the perfect period on it. And Chad understood that. So he made sure to have a party. But we did learn that it was too long. So 400 miles a day is too much. Probably going to knock it down to 300 miles a day again. And then 8 days is a long time to be out on the road doing all that stuff and fighting your car and trying to get there and having a time constraint and all that. So this next Poverty Tour, I believe, and every Poverty Tour after that will probably have a little bit of a template, which is 5 days and then a party or an event or something afterwards that lasts 1 or 2 days before we all turn around and go home. Dalton has announced that the next one's probably going to be on the Gulf Coast. I'm not going to tell you exactly where we're going to end up, but we're either going to go north or we're going to go south. I'm hoping for south. So, because I haven't been there yet. So I got to say thank you to a couple of people. First off, Dalton. Dalton invited me in to help plan Poverty Tour at the end of the last Poverty Tour, and I cannot tell you how much fun I have had actually planning an event and then watching everybody enjoy the plans of that event. That has been a real treat for me. John from Toss a Coin to Your Tech Guy. I mean, he stepped in, he took care of the things. John will know that term. And our check-in process went flawlessly because of him. It would not have gone as well if it hadn't been for John. And he was so instrumental to making sure everything ran on time and I was able to check into things. And it worked great up until we just didn't care anymore. And we just started going, yeah, you're fine. Which is perfect. Chad Scott, Whiskey Gas Garage, knows exactly what he did. And I thank him so much for all of his help in the middle of all of this. And brother, you're family to me, and I will always be there for you. So remember that. The city of Weatherford and the Stafford Air and Space Museum. I mean, phenomenal experience with them both. The mayor came out, Mike, I can't remember his last name, to thank us for coming. Lieutenant Chris Cody and the police department handled every problem that I had and answered every question that I had. So I got to thank him so much. The staff of the Air and Space Museum, they were just phenomenal people. Shelby, I think, and Kelsey. I remember Kelsey, but I think it was Shelby or Sydney. It was Sydney. And I'm literally trying to draw this off the top of my head. I know I can turn around, do the research, blah, blah, blah. Nope, I'm going to try to do it off the top of my head because I think it's better that way. Fantastic to deal with you guys. Thank you to everybody that went in and paid an admission. The museum said it was their best day this year so far. So you guys are awesome for doing that. The city of Tucumcari dealt with their city manager months ago, talked to their chief of police months ago. The chief of police showed up and he was there and just a great presence. Officers came in and left, and I said no shenanigans, and you guys delivered, and I really appreciate that. You showed them who we could be. You showed them that not every car group is a problem, and that is so wonderful. Thank you very much for behaving yourself. What else am I thinking? To the staff of the Tucumcari Convention Center, thank you for opening up and making coffee and providing water and make sure the bathrooms were available to us so that we could use them. That was a phenomenal thing to do. And Ben from Motorpur. I gotta talk about this. I promised him I would. So Ben from Motorpur. I'm gonna shamelessly push this, and here's why. I was at the Stafford Air and Space Museum, and the van was having a little trouble idling, and I walked up to Ben, ready to buy 2 bottles of Motorpur for the van, and told him what my problem was, and he said, and I said, but it's fuel injected, will it work? Because I thought this would only work on carburetors. Ben handed me 2 bottles, said they were on him to go put them in and let him know how it did, and I put the 2 bottles in, and it cleared right up. I knew it probably needed a fuel injector cleaner run through it or whatever. I'd been wanting to get a couple bottles of these, and Ben actually showed me what it can do, and let me tell you, it worked perfectly. Ben gave me this 3rd bottle specifically so I could do exactly what I'm doing right now, which is talk about Motorpur and tell you what a great product it is. And I would not do that unless I really thought it was a great product. And I swear to you, it cleared up my problem immediately. So Ben, thank you very much for this bottle. It'll go in the OG. Thank you for the other 2 bottles. And anytime you want to send me bottles, and honestly, I'll probably be buying some bottles from you. But anytime you want to send me stuff, I'm all for it. So thank you, Ben, for that. But no, seriously, this stuff actually works. And then everybody else, to everybody that went, to all the poverty tours that went with us, thank you very much for being an amazing group of people. The best thing that I heard about our group was that one of our guys went to go clean up, to walk the ground, the park for trash after movie night, and found 0 pieces of trash. If there was trash there, you guys picked it up. If you guys had trash, you picked it up and took it with you. At no point, you left that park maybe cleaner than it was when you got there. And that speaks to the culture that is Poverty Tour. So thank you so much to everybody that went. Unfortunately, it's time for me to do the regular YouTuber thing. So if you have come this far, I appreciate you for watching the video. Like, comment, subscribe, share, follow, turn on the notification bell, do the hokey pokey, and turn yourself around, because that's what it's all about. And if I don't see you before the next video, well, I'll see you out there. Thanks, guys. I mean, seriously, you really think this is going to get out of the parking lot?
Okay, I want to know if the back tires will even
spin. Hill with Bo in the back. Like,
I
with Bo in the car.
might pop.
You think the back tires might pop? The back tires might pop. Is it gonna start?
It always starts.
It always starts?
Let me out!
It's not starting now. Is it running? It
Justin,
sounds
what
like it's
the
running.
heck? What's wrong with this pile?
There it is.
Oh no, he got it running.
I bet
That's
it
part
needs
of
a
the
head
problem.
gasket.
No, it doesn't. Here, Michael, would you hold this one up?
Yeah, sure. Right, now we're recording. Just keep
flip it
going.
around the other
Just keep
way.
going. Just keep
Flip
like
it
just keep going. Keep going. Keep going. How many times can we actually go around in this thing?
I doubt it. I
How
can
many times
actively
can we go
feel the
around this
shocks
thing?
leaving the
All
chat.
right, that's right. All right, I don't know.
Okay,
We're
I'm
rubbing
busy.
tires. Okay. Do you know which way is out? Do you know which way is out?
Bottoming out right now.
Oh man. Headlights.
Our Subaru. That's a perfect little fire road car. That's what that car will do well.
You gone?
Good to see you, man.
Was he in a Sahara?
No, one Cherokee, the 2006.
Good to meet y'all.
Safe travels. Bye. Congratulations, Harley.
Congratulations, Dad.
Safe travels. You too. Am I the only one? Yeah. I love you guys.
Drive safe.
Bye, JT. See you later. Guys, safe trip. Bye. Have a safe trip. Have a safe trip. Bye, guys. Have a safe trip. It's good to see you. Safe travels.
See you guys. Sam Sampson dash cams, log underneath.
Headlights. Guys, be safe going home. Will do.